On a cold Halloween night, in the quiet town of Maple Hollow, Detective Laura Hayes is in a desperate race against time. She's hunting a masked killer who preys on children, but she has no idea that the very monster she is chasing might be wearing a police badge of his own. It was supposed to be a night of laughter, costumes, and candy. The streets of Maple Hollow were alive, filled with children dressed as ghosts and monsters, moving from one door to the next under the warm, orange glow of streetlights. But hidden behind one of those masks was a real monster, one who wasn't just playing pretend. At 8:45 p.m., the fantasy shattered. 10-year-old Tyler Green vanished near an old, dilapidated house at the end of Willow Street. The only thing left behind was his candy bag, its contents scattered across the damp pavement like fallen leaves. The next morning, the town's worst fears were confirmed. Police discovered his small body in a nearby cornfield. He was positioned in a strange, ritual-like display, with a small, carved pumpkin placed right beside him. The pumpkin's face was smiling, but the message crudely scratched into its skin was anything but cheerful. Trick or treat. Panic descended on Maple Hollow like a thick fog. Parents locked their doors, pulling their children inside. News vans swarmed the police station, their cameras hungry for answers the police didn't have. The killer had struck on Halloween night, and a terrifying certainty settled over the community. This was just the beginning. Detectives searched the crime scene with painstaking detail, but it offered nothing but confusion and a chilling sense of dread. There were no fingerprints, no witnesses. Just the eerie feeling that someone had been watching from the shadows, enjoying the show. As they dug deeper, a pattern began to emerge. Reviewing missing persons reports from previous years, they found two other children who had disappeared on Halloween nights in nearby towns. Neither had ever been found. With Halloween approaching again, the police knew they were in a race against the clock. The killer followed a strict pattern, and that meant he would strike again, very soon. Every single officer in Maple Hollow was assigned to the case. Patrol cars became a constant presence, their headlights cutting through the day and night. Schools were put on lockdown, the playgrounds falling silent. But fear spread faster than any net of protection. Parents kept their children home. The annual Halloween parade, a town tradition, was canceled. The spirit of the season had been replaced by a gnawing anxiety. Yet, somewhere out there, the killer was watching, waiting, and enjoying the terror he had created. Detective Laura Hayes became obsessed. She fixated on a lead from an old witness statement affirmer who claimed he'd seen a shadowy figure digging near that same cornfield years ago. On a hunch, Hayes sent a team to search the area again. This time, they found something. Buried just beneath the soil were three small, crudely made wooden crosses. Each cross was marked with a date, October 31st, one for each of the past 3 years. The horrifying truth became clear. The killer wasn't just committing murder. He was performing a ritual. But there was something else, a detail that made Hayes' blood run cold. When she plotted the locations on a map, each site formed a rough triangle. And at the very center of that triangle stood an abandoned, crumbling church. 2 nights before Halloween, officers swarmed the old church, searching every inch of the decaying building. Inside, they found a disturbing scene: animal bones, melted candles, and scraps of old children's costumes littered the floor. The walls were covered in a messy, childish handwriting, repeating a single, chilling phrase over and over: they asked for treats. The department believed they had finally found the killer's lair. They were close. But when they checked security footage from a nearby business, a shocking image appeared on the screen. A police cruiser was seen parked near the church several nights before the raid, long before any officer had been officially dispatched to that location. The implication was staggering. Someone from inside the police department knew more than they were admitting. The monster wasn't just on the streets, he was in their ranks. Halloween arrived with a heavy, relentless rain, washing the streets clean of trick-or-treaters. The town was a ghost of its usual festive self. Patrols were doubled, but the air remained thick with dread. Detective Hayes refused to rest, her gut telling her that the killer would not let the night pass without claiming another victim. At 9:00 p.m., the call came. A young girl was missing from a quiet suburban block. Officers rushed to the scene, their sirens wailing through the storm. But as Hayes arrived, she noticed something that made her heart stop. The first unit already on the scene was the same cruiser from the church security footage. And inside, sitting behind the wheel, was Officer Daniel Crow, staring blankly at the empty, rain-slicked street. When Hayes questioned him, his hands trembled. Mud, the same distinct red-brown earth from the cornfield graves, clung to his boots. A quick, urgent search of his patrol car's trunk revealed the horrifying truth: a freshly carved pumpkin, a small shovel, and a blood-stained Halloween costume. Crow didn't need to confess with words. His hollow expression said everything. For years, he had used his badge as the perfect camouflage, hiding in plain sight. He selected his victims while on patrol, his uniform granting him trust he so brutally betrayed. He blended into the chaos of Halloween, reliving the night his own son had died years ago in a trick-or-treating accident to death he blamed on careless parents. In his twisted mind, he wasn't a killer. He was delivering justice. Before they could take him into custody, Crow made a desperate break for it, disappearing into the dark, rain-soaked cornfields. A frantic chase began under the dramatic flashes of lightning. When the officers finally found him, he was lying lifeless beneath a scarecrow, his service weapon beside him. The rain washed away his footprints, but it could never wash away the horror he left behind. The town of Maple Hollow would never forget the Halloween killer, or the gut-wrenching fact that he had always been so close. But the story doesn't end there. As the final report was being closed, one detail continued to haunt Detective Hayes. While searching Crow's home, she found a locked drawer. Inside was a single, cryptic note, written in the same childish scrawl she'd seen on the church walls. It said, "He made me do it." The handwriting was not Officer Crow's. And somewhere, out there beneath the autumn leaves and the fading sound of sirens, another pumpkin smiled in the dark. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more chilling tales. Stay safe out there.